俺の財宝か？欲しけりゃくれてやる。探せ！この世の全てをそこに置いてきた。
Yo guys, and welcome to this new video. This time we have a chapter that was evidently meant to be a sort of connection between the previous arc and the next one. But exactly because of that, it kind of lacks of substance, and this continues to feed that atmosphere of emptiness and disappointment that was generated by the last part of the Class A versus Class B phase of the plot. But even if one looks at it forgetting everything that could have been disappointing before, it still doesn't contain anything. I mean, first we have a very trivial, in my opinion, discussion between All Might, Deku and Bakugo, where it happens nothing. It's kind of surprising how they didn't point out the differences between All for One and One for All that are evident as well. Indeed, while All for One steals the quirks from other people without them agreeing with that, One for All passes the power that one person stores to the next one. That next person has the power of two people. Then he passes this power of two people to the next one, and that next person has the power of three people. So is the owner that passes the ability. In All for One, it's true that he can pass quirks to the others, but he acquires multiple quirks by taking them by force, while One for All gives multiple quirks by donating them to the next person. Of course, this thing of passing quirks makes the two of them look similar in some aspects, but this is understandable because they are born from two brothers, and we know that the abilities a person is born with is directly inherited from the parents. Anyway, after that discussion, the rest of the chapter seems to be dedicated to underlining how Midoriya doesn't know anything about controlling these new abilities, this new power of One for All. This seems to be related with his emotions, his feelings, and for this reason he decided this power was not meant to use yet, and so he cannot use the power. This thing to me seems a stretch, but we will see. For now, what this implies, in my opinion, is that everything that was sacrificed at the end of the previous arc, and I'm talking about a much deeper exploration of Shinso's character and of also the Class B students that faced Deku in the last match, and that was put aside in order to give the new One for All the spotlight, apparently was sacrificed for nothing, because the only difference between the Deku before the match and the current Deku is that he knows more about One for All. What can explain this way of developing the plot is that Horikoshi needed this kind of awareness for what will come next. And talking about the future of My Hero Academia, if this connecting chapter clearly shows where it came from, doesn't give any clue about where it is going. Indeed, Monoma completely failed in copying Eri's quirk, and this denied, of course, any kind of development in that sense, any kind of development including Mirio acquiring his quirk, including that particular power being used according to her will. This makes including this attempt completely useless in terms of the plot, but the fact Horikoshi decided to include it anyway gives the impression again that what he wanted to do was just making Midoriya compare himself in a sense to the little girl, and in this way acquiring a sort of determination in a contest where understanding he actually didn't know anything about One for All made him lose a bit of conviction. And so this fact can be seen as the last of a series of happenings in the plot that are only put there for Deku's sake, for his development, for what Horikoshi wants him to do, to be, and to become, neglecting meanwhile everything else. However, I must also say that this part of the chapter does include one interesting information that is related to the reason why Monoma can't copy One for All. As I said in a couple of chapter reviews before, this is because Itsuku's quirk contains multiple people, it contains their personalities, it contains their feelings, their quirks, so it stored those people, one could say, during the passage of One for All from generation to generation. Monoma can only copy the possibility to start another storage, you could say. He, in a sense, can copy the ability of the first possessor. He can't copy all the people that One for All already stored. And the fact he has the same results with Eri's quirk means it is of the same kind. This is very interesting because it implies the growing of the horn is the process through which the quirk accumulates some type of energy, and that same energy consequently is what is released when she uses her quirk to revert the status of anything that is around her. This allows to better understand Eri's quirk, and the fact Horikoshi seems to want to maintain her in a sense at the center of the story in the moment suggests that this new information will be relevant for the way in which she will be involved in the next events. And considering her connection with overall and the way in which Shigaraki's organization kind of inherited the results of Overall's one, we can assume the leader of the League of Villains will try to put his many hands on the little girl. But as I said before, we have no clues about the direction the plot will take. For this reason, we can only wait until the next chapter, and until then, that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching, don't forget to leave a like and make sure to subscribe the channel. Then see you next time. Già ne?